Okay, and here we go again.
I was drawn to do this because, knowing Jonathan, I just had a feeling the material would be creatively off-center and yet hit a resonant emotional mark.
Because it was experimental, with no expectations and no right or wrong way to do any of
The
it.
concept of just throwing a script at 3 women and saying, go interpret my work, no direction from me, no, don't even direct each other, just like see what you can create in this space together with this like basically 2.5 minutes worth of actual script.
The only thing that was written
Is the black and white section,
which is the second half of the film.
I wrote it in 5 minutes. Maybe that shows. I don't know.
With no set result in mind, I felt free to play with whatever popped into my head and presented itself at the moment.
It was so much fun to approach the material with different attitudes and then
marvel at how the disparate takes could be edited together.
The idea of keeping the cameras rolling the entire time.
That was so fun and so interesting in that technical aspect of like, what could we do with this small amount of time in this small space?
We filmed the rehearsals.
all four of us played off of one another so freely. It felt like dress up for adults.
I think we laughed the most at going so far over the top with the makeup.
And then it was jarring and liberating to see intercuts of no makeup, no wigs, no costumes.
I had no idea that having our faces completely unadorned was going to, in that moment, make me feel so exposed and uncomfortable.
It's scary to look down the barrel of a lens. You know, acting, you can hide in characters. And I love that they allowed me to see themselves through the mess.
I loved how both of us actresses showed up in almost identical oversized plaid shirts. And then footage in those made it into the final cut.
I love the artifice of film. I wanted to show the audience the pieces that go into making a film. For me, that's the exciting part.
I'm not very attracted to the idea of polished work. I mean, life is not polished. Life is a mess. And the creative process is a mess. And I wanted to show and explore that.
I felt I had been challenged and I was safe. What more can you ask for as an artist?
Everything that you see is the beauty and the creation of the people who made it. You know, I somewhat feel like an imposter, like taking credit for the direction of the movie. When I made this, I was very much going through a period of time when I was trying to find meaning. I still am. It's an ongoing thing, trying to find meaning in our lives. This film was my expression of my fears that what I was doing and what I was making didn't mean anything. Every film that I've ever made has kind of been in the shadow of somebody else. Like my very first film I made was called The Trial of Linda Kasabian, and it was completely an aesthetic ripoff of Dreyer's The Passion of Joan of Arc. I made this film called Bernadette's Revenge, very much in John Waters' style. I do this series of films called Memory Films, which are essentially Warhol's screen tests, but with an audio track on it. And the fear kind of struck me that I was just a ripoff. My favorite quote of all time about art is from Sondheim's Sunday in the Park with George, and he says, "Anything you do, let it come from you, then it will be new. Give us more to see." Yes, I may be never as good as my heroes, but as long as I stay true to my own vision, that, you know, maybe I can carve out my own version of success. I always think about the quote from Annie Hall, where Woody Allen says to Diane Keaton, relationships are like a shark. They have to keep moving forward or they die. That's an inspiration to me as well, to constantly keep going forward. And who knows what I can find if I do that.